Hi, welcome to Coffee Talk Tuesday. I'm Shalise Stevens, and I'm here with my enchanting co-host, Trip Mitchell. Enchanting.
By the way, it's Thursday. How can we do Coffee Talk Tuesday on Thursday?
Wow. Way to blow our cover. Because
Well,
everybody knows that we only film on Tuesdays.
I really don't think that... You know, and we have a studio audience. We have the most handsome young gentleman here.
We do.
And it really is very cute. But I want to talk Valentine... After we introduce our guest, I want to talk Valentine's Day.
Of course you do.
Because this is the world's stupidest holiday. Every man thinks so. And here's how we change the dynamic. Have a reward for men who do well, not just a penalty.
Oh, okay. We're going to introduce Lisa first.
Okay, then we'll get into that. But Lisa, and she has strong opinions on the subject.
Very strong.
I appreciate it.
All right, well, we are with Lisa Hall. She is our amazing artist friend. She does all our graphic design. She's done our logo, which we are actually having a logo reveal today. This is our new logo that we're having. So we're going to put it up on the screen. Right there.
How'd you do that?
The logo?
Yeah.
Just an illustrator.
Okay, how do you come up with how do you come up with the inspiration to do cool stuff?
I draw several sketches of just ideas that are floating around, and then I'll just send her the sketches and let her pick one that looks good, and then I'll decide if that's the one we go with or not. Like, I sent her a couple ideas, and she had one picked out, but we were kind of in a time crunch, so I went with this one instead.
Well, you did an amazing job.
She actually has one that a picture at some point she has of drawings of our faces. It's pretty fun.
Your face?
Both of our faces.
Oh my
Your
God.
face and my face. It's going to be fantastic, but that's later.
Well,
That's just going to be...
That would be a very...
That's going to be your Valentine next year.
Okay. So let me explain why Valentine's... For every man out there, there's only a penalty. So if a man screws up, if a man does perfect, then he finishes the day in the same position he was the day before. There's nothing good that can come out of it. Can we do something about that? Could you do something great for your husband, boyfriend, whatever, if he does a great job?
Yes.
Like maybe not bother him for a week? How would that be?
Wow.
Not
How would that be?
Not
How
bug
would
him.
that be? No, let me ask you this. How would it be if we didn't have to expect nice things like once every so often, because the guy just actually did as much as we did and could match our effort in the relationship?
You are insane. Men put tons of effort into the relationship. We take out the garbage.
Sometimes.
That's about it, but we do a great job of taking out the garbage.
When it's overflowing and you can't shut the little thing anymore or anything, and so then you're like, well, I guess I should take that out.
I broke the new garbage thing because we've got a drawer that pulls out with the garbage cans,
That's
one
how
for
we
the
have.
recycle. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I put my foot in there to crush it down
jeez.
so I wouldn't have to take it out. And I broke the thing and then had to sneak because, that would have required so much effort to, bag it up and to walk outside. I mean,
Right.
And it's cold. During the summer, I'm much better at garbage.
Right.
But so we do other things.
Okay.
I'm going to come up with something.
I'm waiting.
Why do you guys like us?
That's a really, really good question. Actually, I like being alone. Actually.
It's purely biological.
Oh, so we are donors?
I mean, I would like to have more than that.
You would like to have more donors than one?
No, more. Or more than just a donor.
How would you feel about having 2 or 3 husbands?
Oh, gosh, no. Well, actually, maybe.
You could get that garbage taken out 3 times a week. But there'd be a lot more garbage, though.
Unless I could just rotate, and be like, you're this person for me, you're this person for me, you're this person for me. And then maybe with 3 men, I can get an actual, like...
A composite? If you could have a...
Yeah, like the perfect man, but it takes 3 to get there.
Well, I disagree. Okay. I think it takes 5. But it is kind of funny.
Hold on one second. Should we just have him on the show?
Yeah, let's have him on the show. Come on over here, buddy. Come here. Hi there.
I'm trying to like tell him to sit down without like yelling in people's microphones.
Okay, we're... Okay.
There we go.
What do you have to say about life? He is
What are your
very
opinions on romance?
cute. Oh, okay.
like-
Good to see you, buddy. Okay, so
right.
All right. Hey, Gabe, go ahead and sit down
can
and put your
pause.
headphones on, okay?
We'll edit this.
No, we're in
Put
good
your
shape. The
headphones
headphones
on
are
and
back
sit down.
on.
Okay.
How old
Okay.
is he? 14, 15?
Almost. He'll be 3 on Tuesday.
He is a very handsome young man. How many kids do you have?
He's the only one.
Okay, are you thinking about 8, 9, 10, 12 more?
We are in Utah.
I do have pressure from the Utah Society to have at least 8, so I think we'll probably go with like 1.
Okay, that is much more responsible for the environment. But it is, one thing about the indigenous culture is that they do a great job of having multiple kids. In terms of, my sister was a mess with 3 kids. I mean, they were totally disorganized. They killed their neighbor early on, and I'm serious about that.
Wow.
Well, it was more her husband at the time. He would never cut the lawn. And the kids would go over to the neighbor's house and pull up plants and flowers and really horrible kids. And the neighbor used to it was over on Creek Road, and he used to cut their lawn just because it made the whole neighborhood look so bad. And then he died one day of a heart attack cutting their lawn.
Oh.
But my sister was horrible with kids. But you go to the store and you see families with 7, 8 kids, and they're all polite. They do the right things. They don't, how is that? How are your kids?
Oh, my kids are kids. I mean, it depends if we're talking about my daughter or my son. Like, my daughter, she's pretty good. Like, she actually is in the regionals for her STEM project that she did on blowing bubbles, bubblegum bubbles, and she made it to her district competition.
Wow, and how old is she?
She'll be 12 next month.
Hey, very cool. How about your son?
My son, he just turned 8, and he is my little wild boy.
And God bless him. God bless
He
him.
is a complete, I don't mean to stereotype, but he is a complete boy. Everything you think a boy is, he is.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
And Dave Barry, the humor columnist, talks about if a group of 8-year-old girls were on an island without any adults, in one day they would have everything organized. They'd be working in total teamwork. And if 8-year-old boys were on the island, they'd be fighting over one rock. And it's just kind of a difference between boys and girls. And boys don't start out superior. We just work towards that.
Obviously. It's been proven time and time again. I've only been married twice.
Wow.
We won't, yeah. Anyway.
How were they?
Well, actually, my ex-husband is going to be on our show next week.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
it's
when does
gonna
he
be
get
fun.
out?
Yeah.
Is it parole or?
No. Well, we talked about him a couple of shows ago about the acting and everything.
Yeah, he's an acting teacher.
And he was like, "You're not going to like remember the Jesse James I was in or anything else." So we.
You can't leave in the middle of the show.
I know. I've got to get him from breaking your microphone.
Okay, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to hear about Shalisa's marriage 1, 2, and possibly 3. We'll be right back.
All right. Well, welcome back. We've got the children under control. Good job. Good job,
you.
Mom. That's a good job, Mom moment, because we don't get enough credit as moms to the little things that we have to do, like, just keep our kids quiet for like.
Well, she gave him 3 Benadryls. I mean, I don't think she gets that much credit for it. I mean,
My main concern is, as long as he's not breaking expensive equipment, he's fine.
and then we found out where I bought some of the equipment in here on a high-tech, very expensive website, Wish. and the primary slogan is "Wish this stuff worked."
Right.
So we were talking about your marriages.
Oh,
So
I know. We should probably talk to Lisa though about, because we're going to talk to my ex next week. I just said our next guest next week is going to be my ex-husband, David Stevens, and
The David Stevens?
The David Stevens.
The one who was in Jesse James?
Yes.
I've
See,
seen his
he's gonna
IMDb.
He
did.
was
Did you
Jesse
really look
James.
him up?
No, you just told me.
Oh. Well,
It was a History Channel documentary.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you get paid for that?
I don't know these things.
Probably
Scale?
at least like $4 or $5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was cool. That, and he's done, like I said, he's done a lot. But he's going to be on the show to talk about himself. But we're going to talk about Lisa now.
Lisa, tell us about yourself.
Hi, I'm Lisa.
So aside from doing great art, what do you do? And have great kid.
Yeah, I mostly I used to work with Shalise. That's how we met. We worked at IHG together, and I worked there for a while. But I was trying to do art full time, so eventually I quit there. And it's nice because I can work from home and still keep an eye on him, and that's why he's here with me, because he goes with me everywhere.
We've got a presidential race coming up, and one of the things that's never talked about is helping mothers out with childcare. That is something that no candidates talked about. That's something that
That's a good point.
it makes a working. So you're in a family. You've got both people have to work, but childcare is such an important topic, and it makes life so miserable for young families. And what are things that you would like to hear from a presidential candidate that could help you?
Well, I know actually Elizabeth Warren has talked a lot about having like a government funded child care program, or at least like rebates and things like that. So I don't know a lot about it, but I know that she has talked about it.
I find her shrill. So maybe I don't listen to her as much. I mean, Bernie and Elizabeth say a lot of the same things,
They do.
and I find him shrill as well.
In a
A Larry Sanders
Yeah.
sort of way where he just kind of yells at you.
yeah.
But at least, so she is addressing some things along those lines.
Yeah, she has. So I respect that. I thought for sure that working from home with a kid would be much easier than it is.
She's a first-time parent.
And it's not that
true.
easy.
It is not. No, I end up doing most of my work in the evenings, and we try to, he's not a rambunctious kid. We really looked out. He's got a ton of energy, but he's never had a bunch of issues with like throwing fits or screaming. We're super lucky. He's been a great kid so far, but he still requires a lot of attention. So while I do get some work done during the day, it's definitely something that he requires a lot of attention. And as far as what can be done for moms who are working with kids,
Because daycare is pretty expensive, isn't it?
it's so expensive. That's another thing too. I was thinking
It's like a house payment.
exactly.
Yeah.
I started freelancing and things were a little rough. We had a rough patch during that time, but we figured out still that even if I were to go back to my old job, the cost of daycare would make the difference in the money that we were making completely negligible. So there was no
that's
point
a
in
tough
me.
situation. Yeah, you go work 40, put up with all that aggravation just to pay
Yeah.
for daycare.
Yeah,
just
that's
go through
all
the
it would be
hassle
paying
of
for.
leaving for work a half an hour early. I think
Yeah.
for the kids, however, the right daycare probably is pretty enriching, I would guess.
I would say so. I try to make sure that we, like, luckily, since I do, like, art and things like that, I draw on an iPad so I can take it with me anywhere. So I can take him to the library and to social programs and things like that, and that's super beneficial for him. I know a lot of parents, like, especially people who are taking phone calls or things like that at home.
Oh, which
Can't
are a
do
lot of
that.
mothers, do that because they're JetBlue Airlines has a lot of people working from home and that sort of
Definitely.
thing.
Yeah, and it's really hard.
Yeah, it seems like the perfect job to work from home, take care of your kids, but a lot of them are tied to their computer and their kids are still unsupervised at home, which can be incredibly frustrating. I've known several moms who deal with that, and they still want to watch their kids. They're right there, and I can't imagine how frustrating it would be to have your kids doing, like just now when he's messing with the microphones, and I'm wanting so badly to tell him to sit down.
Does it
Should
work?
I do now?
At what age do they start listening? 18, 19?
I'll let you know when we get there.
Okay. So it's a little ways off.
My 8-year-old is starting to finally get over the tantrum throwing phase.
Really?
my little boy he's so charming and so like if you
We'll be
ever
the judge
meet
of that.
him, I know if you ever meet him, but see he's more charming to other people than to mom.
I have
But
met him. He's a sweetheart.
he is. He's so fun and full of life, and I love him dearly. And because he's so fun and full of life, he's extreme on everything he does. So
It is one of those things. So I've never had kids, but I was talking to an ex the other day, and her 2 daughters lived with us, and they were 6 and 8 when they moved in, and getting a phone call from them is one of my joys in life. It really is. And her older daughter is moving up here to go to school up here, and truly makes me happy. And so I know, as someone who's never had kids, I'm jealous of you guys because the happiness you get. Now, it probably way outweighed by the...
well, you can become Uncle Trip. I will. My kids are older, so actually you would probably have a blast with them because they can do like anything now.
Well, your son, we were playing catch with the football, and we had 3 great catches, 3 great throws, and then he got bored.
Oh yeah, his attention.
And I got excited. I was ready to have him run pass routes and go up against defenders and send him to football camp. But we'll worry about it in the future.
He definitely needs little bursts of things to do.
So how long is the attention span for a 3-year-old?
Minute or 2. Well, it depends on the activity. Like he's playing right now on this little preschool app that we have for
I want
him.
to ask you a quick question. How much device time is okay? Because I know a lot of my friends use devices to parent their kids.
That's where I think the big divide is if the device is the parent, because what we do with him, and right now obviously he's got it to keep him entertained while we're doing this, but
he's doing quantum physics on it right now.
Oh yeah,
he's
there's
a smart kid.
So many numbers and letters that are supposed to be numbers, but we don't know them yet. He's very smart. Yeah. Okay. Algebra, calculus, all of it. But he likes to do those things, but I try to make sure that they're at least educational, and a lot of the games are something I can walk through with him. I don't think there's anything wrong with letting your kid use a device as long as it's not the only thing they do.
But in a car, I think it makes a lot of sense.
We're going on a road trip next week, and he is going to be on that thing the entire time, or I'm going to go insane.
You know, I actually, so when devices in cars first came out, I was like
airbags?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No. Screen time for cars. I was so annoyed, and I was like, I can't believe this. Like, it totally takes the joy out of a road trip, but I love road trips, and I've always loved road trips, and I would go with my grandparents when I was, 11 and 12 and stuff, and, like, we would have the best time, and there was no screens back then. Like, you didn't do that. And so I was like, I'm going to teach my kids how to, like, road trip and have fun. And then I was like, with movies.
Yeah, I mean, it changes everything.
Yeah.
And so Chris over here was a fully functioning man and then bought a minivan 2 months ago. And we gave him a bunch of garbage, but with 4 kids, a minivan, it's easy entry, and they have...
And they're so comfortable.
The screens
I
on
would
the
never
back.
get one, but...
You have pride?
There's nothing wrong with minivans.
Nothing that... I mean, you have to watch an Arnold Schwarzenegger film festival just to get your machismo back. I mean, because... I mean, really. Chris, how is it driving a minivan?
It's actually really nice.
Hey,
my mom had a minivan, and
by the way,
it was so spacey.
Oh, I see. You asked for bios on all of us, and
I know, and
I sent
you
one.
did send me one.
I sent one on Chris. Chris was a stud, and then he bought a minivan.
Oh yeah, you did say that. I didn't put that on the website, Chris. Don't worry. We're gonna segue because we're talking about kids, and I actually want to give a shout out to Lisa too while we're on our show, because I run my Rainy Days Foundation helping the Heart Kids, and actually one of the things that got us to be who we were is I would write these stories and Lisa would draw them as a superhero. And I'm actually going to send some too so we can see them as well while we're talking about this, because they're so
What do you think
cute.
of this one up here? I think it's amazing.
She likes her work. No.
I don't know which one's up there right now, but I'm sure I
Just go
enjoy
with
doing it.
Yeah, just go with it.
No, it's so, and they're so awesome. And the moms and the kids just absolutely love it. And one of the really cool things is that, so one of my favorite stories is that I was doing all these heart stories and Lisa was just pumping out these pictures for me. Like it's amazing. She's amazing, seriously. But one of the little boys, the first little boy that I had in my Rainy Days Foundation as a heart kid, he got his heart transplant and he swore that it was Batman that got him his heart. Batman went out and found him his heart and brought it back to him. And I'm telling Lisa this story and she draws this picture of Trey, the little boy, whose mom is going to be on our show in a few weeks. But
fantastic.
he was getting his heart from Batman. And when I gave him this picture, he was just like so excited and so happy. And Lisa is doing such good work. She does amazing artwork anyway, but the little things that she does and just to bring happiness
how old
to these
is Trey?
kids. Trey is going to be 8 soon.
And he's
He's
a
the
brand
same.
new heart.
Mm-hmm. Same age as my little boy, which is how we really got to know this family because her daughter, his sister, is also my Danny's age, so we're like besties now, which is awesome. But like, and they now love Lisa, and so every time they need something, Lisa's who we call.
Well, I enjoy doing it. That's one thing that I like being an artist for is because I can make. Like, I'll do little sketches for kids and stuff at conventions or art shows, and just they love it. And so that's probably one of, like, my favorite things.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, as cool as it is to be a lawyer or something, I don't get to go to a kid and be like, hey, I can work your case for you. And have them be like, oh, yes, I wanted to sue somebody. But if I give them a drawing of themselves as a superhero, they're so excited, and I like doing it for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we don't want to defame lawyers. There are a lot of very creative, nice lawyers out there. There's 7.
Please don't sue me for bad-talking lawyers.
No, they're horrible people. They really are.
I know a couple of good lawyers out there.
You know what's funny? Lawyers, everyone says lawyers really are horrible people, but my lawyer's really good.
And everyone says that, so every lawyer eventually.
I know 3 really, really nice lawyers.
Really?
But they don't practice it full time.
Okay.
Depends on what they're practicing, too.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Well, how do people get a hold of you if you want to? Do you do freelance projects for companies and that sort of thing?
I do. I'm working on a pretty big project right now. So
Is that the picture of Shalise and I?
it's huge. It's going to be, the airport's looking for murals right now, so I was hoping to submit it to them to put along the side of the
awesome advertising
moving elevator.
That would be. Can you imagine people getting off the plane and seeing that mural and then turning around and walking the wrong way on the moving sidewalk?
Go back home.
Welcome to Salt Lake City.
I
The
think.
mural capital of the West. Did you get any artwork into the new Salt Lake Airport?
Oh no.
Did you put in for that?
I had a lot of people suggest it to me. I am not much of a mural artist. I do mostly digital work, so it wasn't something that I felt I would.
You'd win it.
Yeah, not even that too. It has to be something I'd be really like focused on. I don't think that I'd be able to put the love into it that an actual mural artist might be able to.
Because that is a heck of an opportunity. So a lot of great artists are going to get a chance to have their stuff seen by millions of people, which ultimately that's what you do art for.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
you do art to make you feel good, but
Yeah, and as much as the money from a mural in the airport would be nice, I don't think that I would be able to do a good enough job on it. Because
Well, she would. She's
there's a difference
You
between
totally
painting
would.
something small on a like normal
Canvas.
sized piece of paper and then having to reimagine it in
That's true.
large
Yeah.
scale. And I sometimes get bored on the little pieces of paper. I can't imagine halfway through a mural.
That's why she can pump them out so quickly. She's like, I'm gonna get board soon. I gotta hurry and get this done.
Yeah, it's true. I have a very short attention span, so
I'm the same way.
I wonder where
I've
your
worked-
son gets it from.
I know. Yeah,
The old acorn didn't fall far from the tree
Yeah.
on that one, did it?
exactly. So I try to. Yeah, I don't think that a mural would be my thing.
So what project are you working on now that you're so excited about?
Well, it's taking up a lot of time. I am working with a few other artists on. Well, I should preface this with saying that most of my work is entirely for nerds. Like we do, I mostly freelance and do like character design for like RPG games and people's personal characters that they make for like Dungeons and Dragons. Because I like doing fantasy art, and so it's perfect for me for people to give me a description of their like big hulking orc guy and drawing that. I know it sounds crazy, but I like it.
And she does a phenomenal job.
It's all fantasy.
She has a website.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I've heard of Lord of the Rings, and my wife and the nieces or nephews are all down at Harry Potter World.
Oh yeah, see?
So that's
Stuff
a little
like
nerdy.
that. And the one that I'm working on right now is there was a big...
I actually drove by Comic-Con one time.
Oh, did you? Did you see some people in large costume?
No, I've been to a couple Comic-Cons.
Yeah?
And the cool thing that Dan Farr and his partner have done is they have created something that makes people truly happy. So those 3 days in Salt Lake are pretty... And it used to be when they had the Salt Lake Comic-Con, now they just have Fan X. But those people are pretty darn happy for 3 days.
Oh yeah, that's actually where we're headed next week. We've got a convention in Chicago because we sell stuff at Comic Cons.
Oh really? So you're going to you're going to take him to Chicago?
Oh, it is a long drive, but I would
All right,
fly,
I
but
hear
we've got
about your-
inventory to come.
Your project.
Oh,
yes.
yes.
And I interrupted you.
Totally did. That was really rude, Trip.
That's okay. I forgive you.
Okay.
I'll still paint your mural in the airport.
Okay.
Anyway, it was we launched a Kickstarter for it's a portrait maker. So it's kind of like a character creator. We're drawing tons of different individual little assets, and then people can build their own character with it, like for use in games. For writers to use in books as like references for their characters.
Are you going to be rich?
I will be able to pay my rent.
Wow.
Hey.
She's renting out the
I
Salt
don't know
Lake
if it's
Airport.
rich. They did a Kickstarter for it that went very well, but there's a team of people working on it, so.
Really? So the Kickstarter was successful?
Yeah, it just finished not too long ago, and so we've been diving in. I drew about 60 different weapons that you can add to your portraits last week. That's why your logo took so long.
That's okay.
We've been
It was
doing
good
that.
timing.
It's and then we're doing the conventions as well. My husband and I have a website where we make mugs like these mugs.
Yep, she made these mugs.
And
And she gets one as a gift.
I get
wow.
to take one home. One of my mugs. But that's what we sell at the conventions are mugs and t-shirts with some of our designs on it. So
That's very cool. So you're making kind of a side hustle doing all this, and you get to meet some great people around the country.
yeah, we've been steadily growing it since I quit IHG, and we're finally to the point where I'm making more than there. So it's actually starting to pay off, and we'll keep going.
That's awesome.
God bless. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And what is your website?
Level1gamers.com. It's the number one. Level1gamers.com.
All right.
Okay.
For
Well,
nerds.
For nerds.
Let's review what we've talked about today. That men are necessity for some strange reason.
For
Valentine's Day is terrible.
Valentine's Day should be wiped off. If I were president, that would be my one thing. Elizabeth Warren has actually talked about childcare, which is cool. Bernie is very shrill. So is she. None of the Democrats inspire me at all.
I think we're at a weird stage in political.
Yeah, and Trump will be pardoning The Rock outside the studio. So,
And we talked about kids, and we talked about Lisa's amazingness.
yep. And we had a guest star.
And we had a guest star.
Wave.
And I think that
Say hi.
at this point,
Hi there.
our Tuesday coffee talk
On Thursday.
can come to an end.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We really
Thank you.
appreciate it. We'll
All
see you
right.
next time.
Bye.